It's a new week, which means it's time for a new Monday Musing with Left of Lansing's Pat Johnston. Muse away, Pat.
Here's the Monday Musing for March 9th of 2026. I wanted to highlight this story so it doesn't get lost with the myriad of other WTF stories that bombard us each and every day. A couple of weeks ago, the Trump regime's Justice Department said it would investigate 3 school districts in Michigan over gender-related classroom instruction. The investigation is looking at the Detroit Public Schools Community District, Godfrey Lee Public Schools, and the Lansing School District over whether or not it provided sexual orientation and gender ideology content. Now, the regime's DOJ says it's fighting for parental rights. Well, except a parent's right to help their transgender child, of course. Then the government wants to rip away those parental rights. Anyway, the government wants to ensure that there are opt-outs for parents if their kids are possibly subjected to learning about those who are LGBTQ+, since, that would apparently be the worst thing imaginable to those parents. But there's always an opt-out for parents. And as MSU professor and good friend of the show, Josh Cowan, said on his Substack, The Forum with Josh Cowan, the DOJ's Office of Civil Rights was always used to investigate students being discriminated against. Yeah, that's what I thought it did too. But in the age of the Trump regime, it's about finding ways to continue to discriminate against those the Christian nationalists within the MAGA Republican cult deem as not normal. You see, to the Christian nationalists, white people, especially white men, are the ones being discriminated against, and they want to go back to a time when we put non-heterosexual people in their place and back into the shadows. And it's just not with the LGBTQ+ community the white Christian nationalists have declared war on. They also want to erase other marginalized history like African American history, especially anything to do with slavery, Jim Crow, or civil rights. It's about erasing history, erasing facts, and erasing marginalized people. As Josh Cowan said, MAGA is using the power of the civil rights era political, cultural, and above all, legal victories against the descendants of the civil rights movement today. Yeah, that's right. Now, it must be noted that as Michigan Advance reported, the Michigan State Board of Education recently revised their sex education guidelines to include guidance on coverage of sexual orientation, gender identity, consent, and safe sex practices, which previously had not been part of the curriculum. Because, I have to tell you, I thought, part of education is actually educating students on everything, especially, when it comes to high school students. If parents opt out, fine, but allow every other parent to have their kids get this important information. But the MAGA Michigan House here recently voted to strip the State Board of Education of having such powers because they know more than education experts, of course. Now, it makes sense because such a bill allowed Michigan MAGA Christian nationalists the chance to check off 2 things that they despise the most in one bill. 1, the LGBTQ+ community, and 2, public schools. MAGA Michigan Republican gubernatorial candidate, state senator, and Trump bootlicker Eric Nesbitt said on Twitter, if state Senate Dems kill this bill, they own the Board of Ed's extreme agenda, period. We're putting them on notice. Michigan parents will not surrender their rights to the Lansing bureaucrats. Pass this bill. No, Eric, the Democratic majority in the state Senate will not waste its time, and it will not pass this bill because this bill is dumb. Parents can still opt out while other kids receive important info on how to avoid pregnancy and STDs and sexual assault and harassment. Some things that Dear Leader Trump knows all about. Speaking of which, Eric Nesbitt and other Michigan MAGA Republicans continue to stick close to their dear leader, who has sexual assault allegations against him, which have been investigated 4 times by the FBI, who's been busy being a pedophile protector in trying to block the Epstein files, and who's actually been found liable of sexual assault in a court of law. But yes, Eric Nesbitt and all you MAGA Michigan Republicans, explain to me and to everyone else how you really care about the kids. Hypocrites. leftoflansing@gmail.com is the best way to reach me. Subscribe to the podcast and also subscribe to Left of Lansing on YouTube. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, the Gram, and Facebook. Take the battle to them.